whenever you have all this thing behind your name, this is going to happen. So something which leaders today should have. My last personality is going to be the third one, which most of you all maybe have not heard of. He is a person by the name of Imam Ahmad Rida Khan, who is born in India, who is known for many things. In fact, that he was known as one of the most famous jurists in his time. He passed away about 150 years ago. He was a mufassir, an expert in Quran. He was an expert in hadith. He was an expert to have millions of students around the world. And he was a hafiz al-Quran. I'll tell you why. Because I have made it in red colored fonts. And he was a Sufi sheikh. He was a profound writer. And he was a mujaddid. A mujaddid is a reviver who comes once in 100 years. We are in the 14th century of Islam, and he is known as the reviver. Who is the first reviver of Islam? He is the grandson of the Khalifa Umar radiallahu anhu, who is called Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz is the first reviver. Like that, every century there is a reviver. Who is the reviver here? Here it is Imam Ahmad. When people used to write to him, "O Mufassir, O Muhaddis, O Abu," during the month of Ramadan, he used to listen to the Quran once between Isha prayers of Jamaat, and he used to late night lead the Taraweeh prayers. For a day he did 1 juzu, for 30 days he did 30 juzu, and he memorized the whole Quran in just 30 days. It's well documented. I'm not talking about something happened 1000 years ago, but just 150 years ago. He read the Quran a day or a night, and he memorized the Quran. That is what made him a jurist. This is the mind map of his career, what he had. His first speech was at the age of 6, which lasted for 2 hours. Just imagine the personality of who am I talking to. If I go to speak for 2 hours, you will ask me to stop. A person who is at the age of 6 speaking for 2 hours about the life history of the Prophet ﷺ, among front of the greatest scholars of that time, he was asked to continue because of the leadership qualities he had. What about the things which he has done? You can see the areas of books he has written to. From engineering to management to economics to algorithms to trigonometry to all mathematical branches to all Islamic branches, he's covered everything. He's covered everything. And these are some of the sciences which are there. You can see number 1, Quran, Hadith, principles of Hadith. It goes on like that. It goes on to philosophy, fraction, astronomy, numerology, geometry, ethics. It goes on to algebra, algorithms, biographies, histories, all this. It comes up to 55. How did this come is today, Islamic and non-Islamic universities are having PhD thesis about this man because of the leadership he possessed. They are having PhDs because somewhere in his speech recorded he has said, "I discipline at 200 types of different knowledges." When he said 200 types of different knowledges, after he passed away, they only documented 20. So at universities, I found that there are PhD theses on his knowledge and only 54 are found now. Others are being researched one after again. These are the legacies of what Islamic scholars have had. He gave a very interesting explanation when it comes into wudu. Now you will have, you can take wudu with, there is water which is prohibited. So let's say I can take ablution with sea water, well water, water from the river, water from the rain, but there are also water which is prohibited. So if you go on Wikipedia and find what water is what, you might find about 5 or 10 things. Do you know that in his book it is recorded, a person came and asked him, Sayyidi, tell me what are the types of water which I can take ablution? He recorded 161 type of waters. You can't find it in Google. Google has to go behind Ahmad Rida. Then they asked him the question other way around. Tell me the types of water I can't take ablution. He gave 140 types of water you can't take ablution from. Then he was asked, from earth, what are the things I can take tayammum? Again, Ahmad Rida gave 150 things which you can take tayammum. We only know like stone, dust, sand, something like that. We only know 3 or 4. He gave 150 things. He is a university itself. He is a Wikipedia itself. This is because of the Islamic leadership which was there during that time. The Indians respect him so much that they have issued a stamp in his name. Also, there is a railway called Ala Hazrat Express, which is in India, given by the Indian government. Also, out of all this, what he has, he was an expert in poetry. He wrote poetries where alphabetical letters where the lips don't meet. Meaning like if I say alif, my lips don't meet. If I say meen, my lips meet. So he took Arabic letters like that and he wrote poetry. This is one of the poetry like that. He wrote another poem which is called Kaaba ke Badre Duja, praising the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, where he took the end of all the 25 letters in the Arabic alphabet and made the poem like that. So you can see the word Duja in the first line, which finishes at alif. You can see in my second one, somewhere like third or fourth, there is something which finishes in Ba, Zate, Hayate, Intikhab. Like that, all the letters he has taken and he has done poetry. So he got the nickname as the Hassan of Hind. You know the Sahabi called Hassan ibn Thabit who wrote poetry for the Prophet? He is the Hassan of Hind. They also called him the Suyuti of Hind, meaning the Imam Suyuti of India itself. And furthermore to go, he wrote a huge couplet of poems called the Salam-e-Raza, which is today the second most recited poetry in the world after Qasida Burda. So this is the personality of what he has. He wrote a book called Dawlatul Makkiyah in 8 hours without having any books there. He went to do Hajj and he met some scholars who were jealous of him, and they know that, you know, this guy, he only has books, but empty-handed he is nothing. So when he went to Makkah, they asked him a question and they said, can you write us a book on this? He took 8 hours and he wrote a book on that. And this book was very famously available on the internet and here and there. And this is Fatwa Razavi, which is 30 volumes. He wrote a fatwa. And the fatwa has a lot of areas where people from Sri Lanka 150 years ago has gone and met him and asked questions. There is a subcategory called Fatwa Africa, where people from Africa have gone there. In the age where internet traveling, all this was quite hard. That's the Islamic leadership of what we have had. And these are the university PhDs which I'm even working on researching more on. I've collected close to about 21 people who have done at PhD level and 6 people who have done research at MSc level on the life history of this strange personality who had again photographic memory. He reads one, he memorizes one. And finally, I come into the last category which I will probably finish off in the next 5 minutes, about how does all these principles apply to we Muslims in Sri Lanka. We Muslims play a very big role. Whenever the Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith,